GM. Send morning, send morning. Should I say SMSM for our send group, our send gang? Good to see some send tags in the crowd already. Here we are on base station number 9. Just going to be waiting for Ethan and them to come on in. The send man himself. Let's see where he is. Maybe we should ping him. Yeah, here he is. We'll upgrade you to co-host. Send morning, brother.
Morning.
Got it. Hey, man. Yeah, I like our marketing guy put a nice title to this. The Dev Never Sleeps. Base station number 9. Dev Never Sleeps.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, man.
What's going on, man? This crypto's so crazy, bro, with all these timelines. I think Dave Portnoy, I like him, but I don't know, man. I think he's trying to play like he's stupid.
Well, I mean, what would you do if that happened, right? I always think about like, what's the most logical excuse?
You're definitely gonna take your money back for sure, but you know, He's like, quit crying. I'm sure when he lost the money, he went straight to the dude and was like, bro, you owe me fucking $4 million. You know what I mean? He was probably crying. It's not like the dude was like, hey, I'll refund you. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you're not going to turn it down, but at the same time, you're going to be like, bro, what the fuck, you know?
It just keeps. It never ceases to shock me how high profile people get scammed by just like idiotic players that don't even seem legit, and somehow they pull it off. Like that Samil guy or whatever, who did all the celeb coins.
Yeah.
And he's still scamming, bro. And he's like, they must just be talking to these agents, and they've just got it down, you know, to a science where they get to the agent or like the manager of the famous person, and they've just got that script down, bro. And they're just like, yeah, we'll make you and your team lots of money, man. Like, let's do it. You don't have to do anything. And of course they scam the heck out of them. They're scamming clout, really. Someone else's clout. It's so weird.
Have you been following this Chinese story about this brain?
Yeah, I woke up today and I'm like having my morning coffee and I'm like, all right, next episode of Crypto Twitter. What the hell is going on in this version of the Matrix? And I see these messages. What did he burn? 500 ETH or 300 ETH.
7 days ago, he burned 33 Ethereum. Okay, and he says there is a new mode of crime in which the victim is gradually deprived of his desires until he becomes a complete slave to the digital machine.
The mind control chip.
When he burned 70 ETH. Yeah, and this latest one is 500 ETH.
I don't know, man. There's so much weird stuff going on. It's like, but that said, I wonder if he's an OG like ETH enthusiast, right? And the other part of it I was reading was that like he might be just overworked, and so he's like he got these suicidal thoughts and he starts burning all this ETH that he's been holding, you know, for all this time.
That's a lot of money, bro.
Oh, it is. Like, it's wild. Close
to 2 million.
Bro, imagine if ETH is where it should be at 6K.
Yeah.
We'd be crying double, right?
Yeah,
we'll have our time, bro.
What's going on? Tell me what's going on in Mask World.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, you know, we've got kind of a play in a waiting game. We had a review come back from our extension, which we submitted to the Chrome Web Store. They just wanted us to update some kind of purpose statement, you know, they make you do. I know you used to work with other teams. Did you ever have to go through all those review things on the extension when you submit it to Chrome?
Yeah, we did, but it was, you know, that stuff's pretty straightforward getting through it. But yeah, we had the, what is it? We had the send nodes. Yeah, the send wallet.
Yeah. And the wallet. Yeah. So I think we just had to like clarify a couple items on that, but like it was pretty like good. Everything else, nothing else got picked up on the review. It was just like, hey, you need to define the single purpose more clearly. So that's good. That means like the code is all good. So probably a few more days we'll have that out. So that's like our biggest thing, man. That's like the switch we're waiting to turn on publicly. We're gonna like get our paid marketing going all around that. We've got a lot of it staged. Some really big other announcements, but yeah, we're just getting that extension live, and we've already already got an update for it ready once we push that. And yeah, I'll share a few other things too, man. But yeah, always something happening in the world of Mask. And how about you guys at Send, man? You've been cooking a lot of cool stuff.
Talk to me about your paid marketing. Because we're getting closer to a 1.0 product here, where the product is going to be pretty fleshed out as far as like, we can go all in on marketing, right? Because right now, we can market, but it's not fully fleshed out. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like spinning our wheels, but. What do you think about as far as paid marketing? We're in the attention economy. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm glad you sort of framed it like that, because that's why we've been holding out and sort of keeping all of our eggs ready to not to put them all in one basket, but just to line them up, right? Because like you said, if your product is kind of like semi there, but you start spending, like doing high spend marketing, you're just kind of like trying to move it and it's not ready for consumption, right? So we feel like that's all lining up perfectly for us, which is good. Although, you can't affect what the market does. But for the paid, so what we're doing is we've got some campaigns ready to go. It's going to be all about like users coming in and trying it. The biggest thing we're building, which is nearly done, is our affiliate channel, where people will be able to share Mask through an affiliate link, and then if someone signs up, very similar to what you guys have done very successfully with Centex, is if someone signs up, they get a share of the revenue, right? As well as that, we've got a few marketing agencies which we're going to be doing some campaigns with too, which are just to like amplify some of our current socials, and we've already got some content we're basically building pipelines for content, right? So we can be agile. I've read a lot, which I really think is cool in the attention economy now, about fast advertising. You ever heard of that concept with Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, we were talking about that a lot early days of Cali DAO.
Yeah, man. So I really think having a content pipeline that's agile is also key, right? You want to hit current trends, not pivot your product, but dial in the conversations that are becoming relevant and quickly do that, right? Because look at CT, man. Every day there's a new topic, a new scam, or a new crazy thing that is brought up. So you want to be able to tap into that with your relevant product line and get that conversation going. So we spend a lot of time building those up. So yeah, and I guess the end goal for us is to get sort of a base of content where we can excite users to jump in and provide, like get in with organic content, UGC, and amplify that.
I'm literally looking this up right now, UGC.
User-generated content. I mean, that's where the gold is, right? If you've got like 100, you've got to send tribe, man. So everyone in this call knows what I mean. You guys are all sending every day. You're talking about it every day. Like, that's where we're probably missing a little bit. But of course, we've got to be the catalyst for our community to jump in and get excited again and do it and have a renewed vigor. Of course, that comes with new users too. So we know we're kind of just putting all that together in a strategy. So not easy. I'm sure people are wondering, are they going to pay for KOLs and stuff? I mean, I honestly still am jaded about the whole KOL avenue. There's probably a place for it in certain respects, but I think a holistic approach would be our affiliates program, where you basically get what they can generate their own income from sharing the product, which actually works. Like, come on, Send and Mask. There's not many products out there you can use right now that do what they say in crypto. Let's be fair, bro. 95% are fucking vaporware, or they're in development, or they're a concept that may never be realized, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot more than that, but Farcaster has been doing some good work. They recently put a wallet in the app, which is interesting.
Yeah, they're in that top 5% of all the products out there. I mean, other than infra. I mean, infra is one thing, but we're still a big chunk of mind share of builder energy is just devs building for devs. There's a place for that for sure, but we need more devs building for users, right?
Yeah, I want to go into this thing that I posted a couple days ago. Starting at some point in Q2, we'll share a portion of our revenue with Send token holders. Our current revenue streams include send tag registrations and trading fees. I think we've brought in around 50,000 from send tags, trading fees, maybe I got to get the numbers, but maybe 100,000.
Is that like all time stats?
Yeah, all time, 18 months, 19 months. Wow. So over the next few months, we're going to add some additional sources. These last 3 will come in once we add memberships, but we know that Send Earn is coming, and it's going to be 6 to 8%. So is what we're going to take. That's what we take home. So what we take 8% home if there's no affiliate or if there's no upline. So if the depositor, participates in the Send Earn program and they don't put in an affiliate, they don't put a referral, we'll take 8% on that. If they do put a referral, then it gets kicked down to 6%. And then we're going to have memberships. So memberships are going to they're going to offer a couple benefits at the beginning. So one benefit is you're going to get free swaps and free transfers or free sends. So if you guys have been here for a while, you know that sends were, we had a 5-cent fee on sends. In order to send, it was 5 cents. And then we removed it completely and sends kind of just started to go up through the roof. We're going to add that send fee back, but it's only going to be 1 cent. And that's if you don't have a membership. So if you don't have a membership, you have to pay the 1 cent transfer fee on top of the gas. So gas right now is currently really cheap on Base. Have you been looking at that, Kyrie?
Yeah, it's kind of gone unnoticed with all the drama. It's kind of a side effect of the protocol upgrades. Vitalik was finishing on ETH, and ETH is at a 5-year low on gas on chain. So of course that sort of thing rolls up to L2. So yeah, with the way Base is scaling gas as well, it's impressive. It's just all going down, which is good because traffic's going up, gas is going down. That's actually very good.
Yeah, I think Base is going to 10x the block space or the blob space, whatever it is, in the next 10 months. They're gonna 10x it. Right now, gas is for a transfer. It's a quarter of a cent. So 0.0025, a quarter of a cent.
Yeah, I did my daily sending today. I think it was to round it up to 2 cents. So that's got the fee, the 1 cent fee on there, right?
No, we don't have the fee yet. But how many did you do? Yeah, it should just be it's only about 0.002 or even less, 0.001918.
Oh, maybe in the app it just rounds up the decimal. It just showed 1 cent or 2 cents of gas or whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, and then swaps are going to be 5 cents. And that's if you're not a member. So everybody that, we don't care. We want to focus on revenue. We have to bring in revenue. I trip out on these meme coin people, right? So I'm watching this dude Hayden, and I'm watching Portnoy a little bit, and everybody always talks about the beginning stages of a project or the token launch. It's this dude Hayden was saying, Malay was going to put out a tweet, which he did, and then he was going to put out another tweet. Like a video saying, and he said that was going to skyrocket it. And it's what are these people thinking is going to happen, a week later or 2 weeks later, right? You can certainly pump it in the first few 24, 48 hours, but going back to what we said earlier about the attention economy, what the fuck do you think happened? You think you just have to stop working and you don't have to do anything? And that's when the real work starts, is a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. And you're seeing that kind of with Portnoy in this jail stool. Bro, it's at 30 million, which is respectable, but he needs to keep working on it now. It's kind of almost his token, and eventually he's going to get tired of that shit. Because it's not his token, it's not his project, and there really is no utility behind it. So back to what I'm saying is back to this revenue. We have to generate revenue. And it has to come from the customers. You have to have real customers. And right now our customers are our community, obviously on X, which we want to get away from. We want to bring in more retail, people that are not in crypto, people that are not spending most of their time on Telegram and X. And we want to get them to pay for a product. We want to launch a product. We want to have a product that they're going to pay for and that we can bring in revenue. So finishing up my point here is this post that I put out is we always want to be doing things that other people are not doing, right? So the reason why I put this post out is kind of, my marketing works in real time. Like I don't really plan too much shit. I just kind of go with the vibe and I put it out. So I was scrolling and on X, and this guy saying, well, what about token holders? What about giving revenue back to token holders? He was like calling somebody out. And I was like, fuck, I'm going to get a post out about this. And it doesn't matter how small or big the revenue is. We'll do it probably on the 7th of every month, because that's kind of when we do all of our token stuff. We do it on the 7th. We distribute contributor payouts. We distribute team tokens. So we'll do that. We transfer revenue from Sentags over into the revenue multi-sig or into the treasury multi-sig. But finishing up, affiliates will receive 25% of the revenue generated by the downline. So when you look at this, like, okay, so, and we could probably do this with swaps and transfers, but if you look at this, okay, so the platform fees, if we're charging 8%, we get 6%, the affiliate gets 2%, okay? The memberships, we charge 4 USDC, and 1 USDC of that will go to the affiliate. So we're going to take home 3 on that, right? And then transfers, we could do it with that. I think that's maybe a little bit too small, but still, as you're putting more, if you look at the smart contract on, Basescan, and you look like when so 10 tags are more expensive, right? Like if we look at the fees, like if I look right now and I look at the fees for Sentags, which we've brought in, it's been 10 days since we've swept the fees, and we've brought in $600. So we'll typically for the past 2-3 months, we've been bringing in about $60 to $80 from Sentag registrations a day, which is pretty good. I mean, you talk about fucking people registering usernames, right? So the cost, there's actually 5 transactions happening, whereas in a regular send, there's only 3 transactions. So those 3 transactions are, I send, I initiate the send, and boom, the first one is it takes the gas, the paymaster, right? The second one is that it sends the send to the wallet that you're sending to. And the third one is that it's refunding the excess gas. So if it takes, 1 or 2 cents for the first transaction, it'll take 1 or 2 cents, it'll send the send, and then it'll refund the excess gas, which is, 1 to 2 cents, because again, it's about 1/4 of a cent. So you're going to refund the other part of that, right? That's 3 transactions. So smart contracts to do this are a little bit more expensive than just sending from, let's say, an externally owned account, like a Coinbase wallet, right? Which probably is like, I don't know if I want to do it right here, but it's probably, I would say, I mean, we can see, let me see, if we go to Basescan and we look at these transactions, so let's see transactions, and let's see, there's 886 transactions in this latest block, and this is a send. So look at, you have a transaction fee someone is paying here, and it's basically 0.003 of a cent. It's not even hundreds. It's basically 0.003 of a cent.
It's tiny.
Here's another one with 0.03 of a cent. So that's kind of around where we are, but here's another one. This one's a smart contract. But yeah, 0.003 of a cent is just fucking insane, huh? Okay, here's another one. So this one's 0.0011. But so the Sentags now, how much are they? So we know the transfers are 1/4 of a cent, and for the Sentags they are.
It just depends on the character. It depends on the letters, right? How many letters?
No, I'm talking about the gas here.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about the gas because again, in a send, you have 3 transactions happening. You have boom, you're taking out the gas, you're sending the send, then you're refunding the excess gas. That's all gas that needs to be done, right? Those are transactions, right? Now for Sentags, it's actually 5. So, you have your wallet, we take out the gas. Then it sends from your wallet, it sends the 2 USDC to the smart contract for the Sentag, right? Then the smart contract says, okay, is there affiliate or not? Okay, there's an affiliate. Let's send them 75%. So they send, it's a 6-character Sentag, 2 USDC. It sends the 1.5 USDC to the upline, right? To the affiliate, the person that's the referral. Then it sends the 25% to the revenue multi-sig, right? And it sends that. And then it refunds the excess gas. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 transactions here. So going back to what I'm saying is like on the send earn or the swaps or the transfer, or not the send earn, but the swaps and the transfers, for swaps, we could say, 5 cents, and, affiliates out of these swaps are going to get, they're going to get, a quarter of it, right? So anytime your downlines are swapping, you're going to make a cent or a cent and a quarter, right? Or 1.5 cents, right? And then we're not sure if we want to do that on transfers, because then you say, okay, on transfers, you have uplines making, a quarter of a cent on a transfer, which I think it gets a little bit too complicated in there because the price is it's not that much. You know what I mean? But what we wanted to do is, again, we wanted to not really front run, but it's something that I've always talked about. We want to run Send like a real business. And, I'm not really, what do they say? Ask for forgiveness, not for permission. People will say it's a security, but I've never really thought about that when building Send. The only thing the most things that I spend my time is like, I think about financials. How do we bring in money, and how do we return that revenue, 1, to affiliates, and 2, to token holders, right? So depending on how much revenue we generate, we're going to start, giving 25 to 50% of the total revenue to the token holders. So now when you look at the 100% makeup of revenue, you can have, let's say, 25% going to affiliates. You can have 25 to 50% going to token holders, right? And then you can have 25 to 50% going to the core team to continue to build the product. How will that happen? Is what we'll do is we'll take all of the revenue. So I'll set up more multi-sigs. So currently our main multi-sigs right now are for Send tags, which I say it's about $600 in there, and we just swept that 10 days ago. So we'll have that multi-sig. Once we have memberships, we'll set up another revenue multi-sig just so we have them separated. And then swaps will be another multi-sig. So swaps, every time 5 cents happens, it'll go to that multi-sig. And we started bringing in not a considerable amount of revenue, but you can see down the line when people are doing swaps and a lot of transfers, you can get your revenue up to 10, 50, 100 grand. It's not going to be easy, but I can see that happening, right? So we'll take that revenue. Then what we'll do is I'll split it up, and affiliates have already been paid out again because that happens on chain. So I'll take that revenue. I'll decide what we want to take of that for the core team and put it to the treasury. And then we'll take the other, let's call it 35% or 40% to the core team and 35% to the token holders. What we'll do is we'll take that money. It'll be in USDC, and we will buy the token. So it's basically a buyback, right, Kyrie? So
that's what we're doing with our subscription model that we're going to release too.
What are you very easy. You're going to buy the token, and then you're going to distribute it to token holders.
We haven't gone to the token holder mechanic. We've modeled some of it, similar to what you're trying to outline step by step, right? But what we're looking at doing is, firstly, it's going to be buyback for incentives, right? Like if we were to do promotions or say, hey, look, if you're a subscriber, you might get airdropped this for a special sign up promotion, stuff like that, but also to fund the team. So yeah, we'll do buybacks to, build the treasury up as well with Mask and incentivize it for node running campaigns where hey, you want to run your own node and in a bootstrap phase to grow the network, we'll add extra rewards on top from our foundation to incentivize the network to grow. Very similar, you're just aligning incentives with everyone, the users, the holders, and the team. And that's how you win as a group, right?
Yeah, what is Naval? Naval has a good tweet. Naval.
Well, I mean, I look at it like it's just not saying that anything that we're doing is related to securities, right? Disclaimer, we are not running securities or investments. But if you look at what a typical equity type stock ownership dynamic is, if there's a profit making business, they have the option to share revenue or profits with shareholders, and that's called a dividend. So in some ways you're doing a similar mechanic, and you're just allowing it to grow with the business, right?
Naval says people who are good with money are good with basic mathematics, and vice versa. It's like, so I consider myself really good with money. Um, especially if it's not mine. Right? Because like, you take your money and you're like, fuck, I'm gonna go. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Yo.
Oh man, X rugged us again. Every time. Oh yeah.
X is a really good product, though. I really, it's come a long way.
Oh, dude, and with what 80% of the team, carved out because they didn't need that. 20% of the team's left.
I shared something actually. I have this let me see it, and I'll get back into my thoughts. This guy, small teams are the future. Cursor, 0 to 100 million Avenue ARR in 21 months with 20 people.
That's nuts.
Midjourney, 0 to 200 million ARR in 2 years with 10 people. Fucking Midjourney with 10 people, bro. Damn.
That's nuts,
I wonder how many of those are engineers. Lovables.
Probably most of them, but they're all leveraging AI productivity tools, man. I mean, there's going to be, I was saying this to some friends the other day, some of the people I'm friends with and the neighbors and stuff, they run like traditional businesses, right? And I'm starting to talk to them here and there about, we'll have some beers. I'll talk about what AI kind of stuff, cause I'm like the techie one. And I'm like, dude, there's literally like in the next year, I reckon there'll be a unicorn $1 billion startup that's one guy or girl. It'll be a solopreneur $1 billion unicorn startup. And why? They're going to use AI agents to run half the business.
Yeah, crazy. Bolt, 20 million in 2 months with 15 people.
Wow.
2 months. What the fuck? 11 Labs, 100 million, 2 years, 50 people. Aragon.ai, 10 million ARR, 2 years, 9 people. Going back to my thought here. Let's see what this dude's saying.
Yes, you were talking about Naval, and then your business, being about numbers, being good with finances.
So if we take 100% of this revenue, right? That we bring in, and let's say it's 5, 10, 15,000. Who knows what it's going to be? Who knows how much we'll make off send earn? We take this and we how to distribute it is it's not hard, right? You just, let's say you have 20,000, you could say, okay, because you can't just do all buybacks. You can't do that, because what happens if you buy back and you give it to token holders, drop it to their wallets, will sell it, right? And you're basically just playing kind of almost cat and mouse with the chart, right? So what you got to do is you need to take, so if we have 20,000, we could take, let's say 5,000, and we could add that to liquidity, right? Because you have to add liquidity because liquidity is king. So you add 5,000 liquidity. You say, let me take 7,500 and buy back now. Then we buy back the token and distribute that to token holders. And then let me put 7,500 in the treasury. I think that's a good makeup actually right there. Is like 25% to liquidity. Then you have 37.5% and 37.5% each go into the treasury and each go into the buybacks. I think that's a good breakdown.
Yeah, man. No, you're building your liquid. In a way, I've always looked at LP as, like you say, it's key, it's king for a healthy, sustainable project that's trying to exist and build long term, right? It's people underestimate that, bro. Like for the longest time, even your first year at Send, I always was like, man, your LP to market cap ratio is so good. We used to talk about this, right? Yeah. And then you got this weird, like, freaking blow up of what people thought was a fair launch because the meme wave came and they're like, yeah, 100% is circulating. That's so good. That means you can't get scammed. And I'm like, dude, that just means that everyone's sniping from the launch, bro. Like, they're bundling this. Like, you think only the team that's going to build something is going to do it for free with zero allocation. Like, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, that's so stupid. And then what do you think? You're not going to have? I started a blog post, bro, that I was going to put out on basically launching a how to launch a token if you're a serious builder. I don't know, I spent maybe 20-30 minutes on it, but it was going to be real long, and I was going to call out Sisyphus for his fucking Anubis DAO hack, which actually I was talking to a friend last night who's in law, and he's like, bro, you could probably still sue him, because I lost $500,000 on the Anubis DAO, and I'm like, maybe I'll fucking sue this dude. What's his name? Fucking Pollock. What's his name? Fucking.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the thing is, though, like, people think that these scammers are getting more creative, but what's weird is it's actually the reverse. Like, I read a very funny tweet, an article, or I think it was just a long form post about how the previous quote unquote scammers of the last cycle, they did the long drawn out con, right? Like, you had the SBF, he built all of FTX. He was like wooing the politicians. He was paying for marketing and the Super Bowl, all the shit. And it was all built on like a house of cards, but it took years for that to blow up, right? Now the scammers just go straight on live stream, fully doxed. They're talking to celebs and they're launching legit scams. And then, to put it even worse, that idiot Hayden goes on that CoffeeZilla guy interview and basically admits all of the sniping they did. I'm like, bro, that's like, go to jail, don't go round to go collect $200. Like, bro, you're going straight to jail. Like, it's like reverse. I just don't understand how it still is growing so much with this, but it's going to come to an end, bro. Like, people are going to go back to not getting scammed. I hope. It's just crazy.
It is crazy. It just gets it's attention, bro. It's how do we get this fucking attention? I'm gonna come up with some. How do we get this attention? You almost need like I want to get there's a bunch of dudes in crypto. Like, I want to who Sophie Rain is?
Sophie Rain, no.
She's a OnlyFans model.
Of course you know that. See, I don't watch that stuff, so I don't know who it is.
I don't watch that shit either, bro. But I see her, how much money she makes, man. These girls.
No, actually, it's actually crazy. That's a whole nother topic. But man, yeah, I've seen some of the stats. I'm just like, oh my god, it's wild.
Remember we talked about getting like strip clubs, right, to use Send, right, because their strippers can, it'd be good for them to get their customers to pay and Send, right?
Well, you just have to build. This is what you need, bro. You need a sticker that's NFC, and then you can put that sticker wherever they would like, and then the person taps the phone, and that's how you tip them.
Damn. Can you do an NFC sticker?
Okay, I'm going to send you a link later on. There's a you might have seen me not shill it, but like post about it. They've made these NFC. They look like a credit card. Have you seen Use Burner on Base?
Yeah, I've seen Use Burner. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's essentially the same tech, bro. It's like a credit card with a chip inside that's NFC, and you can tap it, and then you confirm it, and you transfer. It just stores the private key, but obviously on chain, it's doing a transaction from the phone, and boom, transfer.
50 pack of NFC tags. This is crazy.
But back to what you're saying with token holders, right? Like, I think.
Well, look at right here. Look at. I wanted to say this. Look at right here. Look at Full Send, right? So you've seen Full Send on the timeline recently?
Yeah. Well, he kind of snipped you with the partnership, didn't he?
Yeah. Fuck him, John Shahidi. Fuck him, dude. Anyway,
what did you say his name was? John Shit-Eater.
I had no hard feeling. I guess the thing that irks me about it is I messaged him in November or December, and I told and he said very interested, and I said okay, I'll get back to you. He said get back to me in a couple weeks, and I sent him back and said listen, I'll get back to you after the holidays. So the holidays passed, and then he's kind of I'm hitting him January 4th, and he's ghosting me, and then 2-3 weeks later he announces he's doing something with MoonPay, and I'm like, bro, why would you do something with MoonPay when obviously the Full Send brand is more aligned with Send? Plus, those guys give away a lot of money, and they could just use the fucking wallet for it, right? But now MoonPay is doing this whole thing where drop your drop your username, whatever, bro, whatever. But look at this Full Send. So Full Send has, 30 million market cap, and their pooled Solana is 586,000.
That's a joke, bro. That's what 1%, like 10. That's not even 10% LP.
Right, and people always say they'll say they count the liquidity as 1.1 million, right? But that's not the way you count liquidity. I mean, you could say that, you know what I'm saying, 1.1, but typically the liquidity is only half of that is really real liquidity. So it's only 600,000 in pooled Solana, 3,292, and the market cap's 30 million. Now let's go to Portnoy's shit, right? So if we go to Portnoy's shit and we look at Jailstool, it's 24 million market cap, and the liquidity is 1.2 million. So he has 7,000, which is a lot more. So see, Portnoy understands this a little bit better, which is what he said before too as well. He said, I added liquidity, and that's the key thing. If you can just continue to add liquidity, you know what I'm saying? You're getting
100%, bro. And here's the other thing people often miss: if you've got key stakeholders in the community, including the builders, and I will put my hand up. Anyone can look at my on-chain stuff. If you've got people who are vested in the company and they're putting LP in, that's a good sign. Like, sure, you can pull it out, but I've always put my own mask and my own ETH and my stuff in liquidity because I want to support the project with that. I'm vested in that. And I think anyone who, if you can encourage that, and then the revenue, from that can go back into token holders, it's all aligned. Like, I think so many people miss out about like value alignment and incentive alignment. That's what makes a business strong, not just the like flash in the pan and these stupid meme coins that don't really, I know we all hate on them. There was a place for them where they had a culture impact, right? But now it's just they've flipped the script and they're saying, I'm gonna capitalize on clout and attention and just grift. And it's maximum value extraction rather than a flywheel of value, which is shit.
Aerodrome did this right. Aerodrome has a 624 million market cap with 60 million in liquidity.
Oh, bro, they've done it right, man. I looked at that before. I'm like, man, when you get to a scale like that and still have 10% LP to market cap circulating, that's pretty damn good. I mean, yeah, that's pretty amazing looking at that too.
You can clip off, a million. You could dump 1 million, and the chart would what? It would go down what? Well, look at. Okay, so the past 24 hours, there's been 2.4 million in sell volume and 2.1 million in buy volume. So let's say it's a $300,000 clip, and the price went down. In the past 24 hours, it went down 2%.
Yeah, it's nothing.
You could clip probably, 1 million, and it would go down. The price would go down 8%, which is nothing because it'll probably get bought up eventually. But yeah, liquidity's king, bro. Liquidity begets. Liquidity's king.
But I think it's smart. It's just managing the things with a smart, doing this mechanism in an efficient way that helps sustain not only the team and the building, but also again, aligns incentives. What it reminds me of, and this is why it's good not to hard code it, because your dynamics of the market and the business change as you grow, right? But this is almost like the old Reflect tokens, remember the Reflectonomics, where every token, like SafeMoon originally, right? Every swap of the token, like 1% would go into LP, 1% would like reflect back into the token holders, and then 1% would go to the team. You remember all that crap?
For where?
It was a token contract that got big in the last cycle. Do you remember SafeMoon?
Yeah.
And that's what they did. It was Reflectonomics. But it was hard coded in the contract. So what would happen was they had like a 5% allocation, which was split into different places, right? So every swap, there was a 5% tax. That's what I should have said. And every swap was a tax, and that 5% was split up. One would go into LP, one would go into marketing fund, one would go into the token holders, and it was like allocating that tax around to different players in the ecosystem. It's almost what we're talking about, except we're doing it within the business realm, right? As your project grows.
Accounting is a lot easier to do on chain.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I was actually, I don't know if you ever used any of those overlays on the safe. You know, they had those accounting, like it's like a web portal where it gives you like transaction history and like you can generate invoices. Do you ever see Parcel and those other ones?
Yeah, Parcel. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of them have just like kind of phased out because I guess they weren't generating revenue, which is actually what we're talking about. They didn't have a business model strong enough. They built a great product, but they just had no proper business development area, and they just couldn't sustain the business, so they just phased out.
It's like this. Have you ever thought about like, you know, my grandma makes really good tamales, and I always thought like if I was to make food, I would open, and actually someone opened this actually around here. You know, you sell tamales, and I would basically start a food truck that sells tamales and eggs, and those are the only things we would sell. Because do you like tamales or no?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love them.
So we put eggs on them. So you put 2 over easy eggs, and it works really good with the masa. Anyway, can you imagine opening a food truck or a business that did something like that sold retail or a restaurant, and be like, yeah, you can eat for free, like. What the fuck? Like, bro, it doesn't work like that. You don't fucking open a business and you know what I mean? And you have to charge. You have to charge for your product, bro.
That's so true, man. And I think we had a shift in our team when we started looking at how to develop our model a little bit. Like obviously mainnet's around the corner. I will share a little bit of alpha. We had one development piece that's finally merged in for Node. This is our core software that runs all the networking and stuff. Basically, like the core of the heart of the whole technology stack. Okay, and we had one card that we're waiting on to say, hey, it's mainnet ready. Well, that was just merged in 2 days ago. So I'm not going to give a date, but that means we're essentially mainnet ready once we get all these other pieces, the extension out, the monetization. Set up with the subscriptions, but most importantly, the affiliate model, right? And
talk to me about your revenue streams, and talk to me about how much the affiliate gets.
Well, we haven't finalized that, but what we want to do is really just start it and iterate, right? I mean, what I will say is we've looked a lot at what's working in the greater sort of privacy tech industry. So the most common place that is they're just printing money is the VPN market, right? We know that they all have their flaws. They're centralized. Maybe the service isn't that great, but even in some countries it doesn't work. Blah blah blah. But what they've nailed is if you search VPN, they're all over Google, and guess what? You usually see ranked in those searches. These are like affiliates who have built a brand, and they're posting their affiliate link. Hey, you want privacy? Sign up while you're watching my stream about XYZ topic that I just stream about every day. Hey, sign up for this VPN service and I get a referral. And I think we looked at some of the stats, bro. Some of these companies are spending millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars on marketing. A massive chunk of that is purely revenue share that they give to these influencers. And that's their viral marketing. You watch any TikTok video that's talking about anything to do with tech, they all have a VPN referral link in there.
Yep.
So what we found, I think, is some of them get up to 30% of the revenue share lifetime for their customers, which is that's pretty impressive. That's a big chunk. So we were looking around that mark. So let's say, an annual subscription for Mask Premium right now, we've priced it at $96, so just under $100 for a year. And it takes care of everything. It automatically makes sure you've got some Mask token in the background, so it pays the peers. So the peer model is completely intact. If you're running Mask to serve the network, you're still going to earn Mask tokens. But the customers who do the subscription don't have to go out, bridge, buy the token, send it to their wallet, manage it, blah, blah, blah. It's that's taken care of. It's like a convenience factor, right? But if you're an affiliate, and let's say we share 20% of revenue, you're going to get $20 off of $100 annual subscriber, which is pretty good. And that's lifetime. So if they renew every year, bro, you get 100 of them. How much is $20 times 100, Mr. Math Man?
20 grand.
Come on, man. 20 times 100? All right, everybody. He failed on air.
$2 grand.
Yeah, $2 grand. So not bad for someone who might be, popular in their scene. They believe in the mask product. They like it. They get 100 subscribers who pay for a year. They make $2,000. Nothing to sneeze at, man. And if you're doing monthly subscribers, like with 20%, it's set, right now it's set at $14 a month. So you'll get almost $3 a month from a monthly subscriber. Well, 100 of them, that's $300 a month. I mean, who here would share a link, for $300 a month?
Yeah, it's almost like drop shipping.
Bro, it is. And the thing is, the tech is sound in the sense that, like, once they get it, they can take it wherever they want. It's not like, oh, I've got to make sure I load my credit card in and, make sure I pay and all this crap. Like, it's like a one-off. It's all on chain.
All on chain.
On chain, baby. So, yeah, I've been looking at those contracts that your boy Big Boss made for the affiliates.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, he's tight, bro. Does he do any side work? Like, could I steal him for a couple weeks?
No. You couldn't steal him, bro. Big Boss.
No, for a couple weeks, I'll return him.
No, hell no, hell no, hell no.
I thought we were brothers, man. Come on, like we can do some shirtless dev round tables and shit, man. Have some beers.
No. I mean, I love you, but Big Boss doesn't. He don't play no summer league games, bro.
I know, bro. I'm just kidding, man. He's the man.
But
he's the man.
Bro, Big Boss is. He really is a fucking bro. I told him the other day because Sender and is almost ready, and I told him, I said, bro, it's Big Boss's world, and we're just living in it. He's good.
That's
bro.
funny. I've seen a lot of devs with like funny names and like crypto like little names that they have, for their profiles. He's the only one where I've been like, actually, that name is definitely warranted, bro. He's earned that.
Yeah, for real, right?
You could say you're like fucking like giant boss, and I'd still be like, this guy is definitely the boss, bro. He's the giant boss now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's sick, bro. The thing about it is he's really good at like UX and UI. You know what I mean?
It's actually hard to get a dev who's good at both back end and UI. It's a rare unicorn, man.
Yeah, not that he's like I'm not saying that he's good at like coding it like actually the front end, but he understands like, okay, like take this shit out, don't put that there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get right, but hey, man, every time you guys do an upgrade, I'm loving it in Mask. I mean, I view it in Mask, but in Send, the app on my phone is just like it's nice. You guys have done a good job.
Settings? Did you see the new settings?
When did you update that?
A couple days ago.
Ooh, I have to look. I'll hop on my browser because I know you and I are a little different, right? I think you tend to use yours on the browser more. I'm on the go heaps, and I'm trying to do my daily sending. Like I pull out the phone and I do it on the Progressive web app. It looks nice though.
I do both. I think I've been using the mobile app more now.
Yeah. But hey, I also, like a lot of people were asking, hey, is the extension going to be on Chrome first? Which we don't like Google around here, but we got to cater to the market. So there's like 50-something% of browser users are on Chrome. But another piece I'll share with anyone, in the Send crowd and the Mask crowd who loves what we do. I did some research on how to port that to Firefox, and thankfully we haven't designed it real like complex. So to port it over to Firefox for all those users too, we're pretty sure it's not going to be a lot of work. 95% of the work is kept the same, which is awesome. So hopefully we'll be able to cover a lot of that market share, and we'll be testing in Brave. Wouldn't that be cool to Mask supercharge Brave?
Yeah, that would be sick.
I mean, we love our own browser, but it's a niche product in some ways, right? Like we talked about this before. You want it to be easy to use. Some people just don't want to change browsers, man. You've used your browser, you got it set up to how you like. It's fine. We'll just bring the privacy to you.
Which is a better browser, Brave or Mask? Like be real. Like which one's is better usability?
I mean, usability, I'd say Brave is probably just pure. Like, I don't like to throw shade on our own product and our own team, but I would say that Brave is more powerful.
How much money is Brave putting into the product, bro? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, product to product, Brave is more powerful, and the reason is they have this massive following, user base, and development community, right? So you open their browser as a new person, there's a lot of crap going on, bro. It's like there's heaps in there, but they've got that full set of features, right? They've got like the AI assistant built into the sidebar. You know, they've got a whole suite of extensions that work just fine. Their ad blocking's pretty good. I mean, they've got it all. They've nailed like all those little, benefits that you want as a user. Whereas, we're just still starting out because we don't have a whole browser team of like 30 engineers. So yeah, I'd say if you want a full-fledged experience, Brave is a good start. If you want a Web3 experience like native, then Mask Browser is like an awesome one as well. But I've met a lot of people recently that use Brave and they use Mask as well. They just one's for like more privacy crypto stuff, and then one they use Brave for daily.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have a side piece. Side piece browser.
What's the rest of your day looking like?
One of the boys just hit me up. He's like, "Hey, you want to do a morning gym session?" So I'm actually going to probably get ready for that and then get stuck into my my business strategy stuff. Usually around halfway through the month, I look at where our strategy is going as a project, and like do some quick numbers and things, and then plan out our releases. So we're kind of like a few days delayed on the extension. We're hoping to be out like this week, or today. It still might be out Friday, but yeah, we've also got a browser feature that's been well awaited. We're going to release. I'll leak it today. It's the bookmarks import. So a lot of people have asked, "Oh, well, look, I want to use Mask, but I don't have any of my stuff from my old browser." Like now we've built the feature to import your bookmarks.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, it's massive, bro. Yeah. So, I mean, we may have some features. Yeah. So, you could basically load everything that you're used to browsing straight into one click. And we've made it super easy. Like we've copied what other browsers do to make it easy. Sometimes it's fine to do that, man. Like, flattery, but not plagiarizing, but like imitation is the best form of flattery, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Hey, what's the timeline on your guys' yield, send to earn? I saw a post from Big Boss that's getting close with all of the pieces he's building to connect in.
Yeah, we got a bunch of shit coming, dude. We got probably like next week, we got buy with a debit card. We got Temporal coming out, which is going to be faster sends.
Nice.
We have send earn probably before, because next week is ETH Denver, which we're going to be going to. We're going to be demoing at Coinbase Dev. They asked us to demo.
Wow, man.
Yes, so we're going to do that. So probably in the next week. By next week, Send's going to look completely different. I'm getting some designs ready for the affiliate page because, if you're bringing people in and they're depositing the Send Earn, you want to see how much you're earning as an affiliate for those specific deposits. And that's all on the affiliate page. So we got that coming. Yeah, man. Exciting. And then we got a Send Tags revamp. That UI has been done, and that's in prod, or that's in dev right now. We're just waiting for review. So Send Tags is going to look different. That'll probably be out by today. And then what's the other one? The other one is, what was the big one? Notes. We got to get that out. That'll probably be out by end of month. Send Earn, of course. What was the other one? I think that's it.
Are you looking at other partners, man? Like I know Morpho Labs is going to power some of the Send Earn. Like, are you looking at building like a partnership side of the ecosystem as well?
Not yet. I don't know. I mean, I don't really see the need yet, but I don't know. Do you have anybody in mind?
If you or Big Boss is ever keen to chat, we should get into a meeting. I would love to have like a one-click checkout to buy a mass subscription with USDC.
Oh yeah, that would be sick. Yeah, totally.
Like if you found this is what we've talked about before in the well, bro, how long we've been homies, man? We talked about this like before day one of Send. But imagine if you had merchants that signed up as merchant partners and they're dealing in USDC, right? And there's just one-click checkouts from Send. Obviously, Paymaster kicks in. They don't have to worry about gas, blah, blah, blah. Everything's there. and you've got like a list of like loyalty partners, and one click buy. It could be for gift cards, which I think you've talked about before. It could be for Mask VPN, could be, all sorts of stuff. And it's just like a few clicks away within your app. So you keep people in the app.
Like a mini app.
Yeah, bro, like a marketplace. People could actually, well, how about this, bro? You could stake or pay to have your business in the marketplace, one-click checkout for products, and they pay with their Send app USDC.
Uh-huh.
That's it. Oh yeah, man. Hey, I always ask about gigs, bro. You got gigs for me?
What do you mean?
Gigs.
Like is it ready?
What's happening to gigs?
No, that's maybe a few months out, bro. We're I'm prioritizing what we're building.
Nah, fair enough. Yeah, the stuff you're talking about is money-making products for the user and for Send. So definitely important. But
I'm actually surprised more people aren't building that, to be honest with you, because we anytime I read something about stablecoins, people always talk about the creator economy, and like,
yep.
But nobody's really building that like hardcore. Like at least not my vision as I see it. They're building Downingcaster, but that's more. That just seems like a. Actually, there's a few. I think there's a few that are out. Do you know any?
Not where they're mature enough that you'd see like a user who's like a year in or 2 years into their crypto journey sitting there thinking it's easy to use, right? It's all about UX at that point. You're not trying to offer that.
I see really UX.
Yeah. There's no like nice UX versions. It's all still really crude. But I guess this is the next year or two where that hopefully comes to the forefront. I mean, that has to shift, or else people will just be doing these, pump and dumps on stuff that it doesn't even get built for the user, or just memeing for the sake of it. I think we're going to shift out of that, though. Too many people have gotten burned now for it to keep going like this, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a lasting thought, bro, like to close out our spaces. What's it going to take for us to get back into an age of utility projects in crypto?
What did Colby say? Colby said something about in about 5 years, he's going to see the tokenomics will be completely different, where everybody's going to be tired of the memes. What did he say?
But I mean, that type of forecast that far out, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I think he's right. He's got a very, very good macro view of everything in crypto because he's an OG. But it might not be 5 years, but everything's going to change in 5 years, bro. We'll have regulatory capture well entrenched in crypto by then.
Yeah.
He did have a good thread. What was it on? It was someone was saying, why aren't we shaming all these grifters and people doing these pump and dump meme coins? And he's like, bro, you can't shame the shameless, right? Like sadly, people do need to become massively, to experience massive pain and loss for them to stop doing it. Because until those incentives go away and the scammers can't make all this money, it'll just continue, right?
Yeah.
Which sucks. But they're preying on the new wave of users, right? Where I guess that's the constant battle you and I have as builders doing like useful apps that help people every day, is how do you draw that attention away from the get rich quick people that are kind of coming in for the first time in crypto thinking they can be millionaires, and entice them to use things that will help them every day, right?
Yeah, I was trying to look for it, but did you see someone launch that token that he had? The freaking unit, or was it the dolphin?
Nah, I didn't see that, man.
Yeah. The Echo the racist dolphin.
Oh my God.
Also, he says right here, if I decided to launch an Echo token and had to choose between two routes, sell 25% to VCs and insiders, keep 35% for the team, launch a token that receives carry distributions from Echo's business to holders, launch with a low float. Or 2, sell 0% to anybody, keep 50% for myself, launch a meme coin called Echo the Racist Dolphin, which is not connected to Echo at all, except in the name, and deployed my public wallet and tweeted from my account. Which do you think would be a higher market cap? I think that the meme coin would be, at least temporarily, valued higher than the VC coin version, despite the meme coin being obviously worth nothing. But I think if you did the exact same experiment in 5 years' time, the opposite would be true. So see what he says right there. Number 1, sell 25% to VCs and insiders. Keep 35% for the team. Launch a token that receives carry distributions from Echo's business to holders. Launch with a low float. Bro, it's all about distributing back to token holders, bro. That's how you.
No, it is. It is. And we can't. And one thing you said there, which has been vilified for the right reasons on the extreme end, is the low float, high FDV. That's when it was purely cooked to the VC. I want people to listen to what you said. Anyone listening to what Ethan said, having a low FDV in itself is not bad, because what that means is, there's some supply that's held by the team, but having a very low float and a high FDV, because most of it's held by VC and whales and insiders, that's bad. But I think you're right, bro. You gotta do that value flywheel and the value feedback loop back to the users, because otherwise you are just a grift. It's like, what's the token for, right?
Yeah. I think we've had 4 rounds, and we have sold, let me see, funding rounds. We've sold about 12% of the token. 10, 11, 12.
Well, you did the fair launch at the beginning for the LP contribution.
Yeah, that was a massive. That was a big part of our supply. I mean, that was 10%. If you that was 100 million tokens. If you take the new supply, 100 million tokens, we only have 300 million circulating. So basically, that was 18 months ago, and that was 30% of the supply that's in circulation right now.
Yeah, no one's underwater either, so it wasn't like it was done shit. Like if you bought at any time in that first area of time, yeah, you'd still be good. You'd still be net positive.
Yep.
Not a lot of projects can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you too, buddy. Glad we got to do a round 2 without getting rugged again. But yeah, always good thoughts, bro. You're a good builder. You're doing a lot of good stuff with Send, and I hope people in the crowd can appreciate that from you, from your community. You got a good leader at the helm, guys. Stick with him. Be loyal.
I think I'm excited about trying this mass product and paying for it.
Well, hey, man, if you want to try, like, do you use Chrome on your computer?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay. Well, if it's out by Friday, I'll ping you.
Yeah.
Well, you can use a test one too. Like if you want to manually load the extension in, like I've got that as for testing. You could try it out, bro. But
live. I want to feel like I'm a new customer.
Yeah. We'll give you the whole experience. By the way, I did a full demo and I've been sending it to top people in base, and the feedback's been pretty good so far. They've been like, hey, most of them are saying, hey, you can be in ETH Denver, like let's chat, I want to get you on stage. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go all the way to the States this time around with family commitments, but I'm definitely keen to chat. One of them invited me to speak, so I might do that. We'll see. I might be doing some cameos soon.
Sick, bro. You crushed it on that one space that you were in, so keep that shit up.
Hey man, that's it. We gotta be the spokespeople for our visions, man, and that's something you do really well as well, buddy.
Thanks, brother. Next week.
Let's do it, man. We gotta hit number 10, base station 10. So same time, same channel, everybody. Thanks for your time. Check out send.app, sign up. Use my referral code. I'll put it in the. No, just kidding.
Do it, bro.
But if you want to send, bro, I've got /ETH. So you can't go wrong if you send some send to ETH.
Or just add an EN to the end.
Yeah, that's right. If you he's got me on the extra characters. And And check out Mask at maskbrowser.com any day now. We're going to have this extension live. You'll obviously hear all about it. You'll see marketing about it too. But it's going to bring privacy to you in your browser. And yeah, we've got some cool stuff cooking alongside that. So thanks for everyone listening. Do you want to give us an outro as well, bro?
Send it.
Send it. You heard the man.
Peace
All
out.
right, guys. Take care. Bye.